Hello everyone, this is just a quick video on how to use integers with word problems and how to write them. Okay, so what I want you to do is make sure you're doing these in your notebook. Open up to the next clean page, put today's date at the top, and make sure you title your page Word Problems with Integers. Any problems I do with you in this presentation, whether it's on the Nearpod or on the video, you need to make sure you're doing in your notebook with me. Okay guys, let's look at an example of a word problem. So this one says, in Buffalo, New York, the temperature was negative 14 degrees Fahrenheit in the morning. If the temperature dropped 7 degrees, what is the temperature now? So what I want us to do today is practice how to write this as an expression and then evaluate the expression, meaning solve it and figure out the answer. We're just not writing equations. We're not writing anything with equal signs, okay? So let's think about how to write this. So there are two ways we can write it. But the first thing I'm going to do is just draw myself a quick diagram of a number line. And since we're talking about temperature, I'm going to draw a vertical number line. So here's 0 degrees. And then we know that the temperature started, and this is really important, where are we starting? At negative 14. So that means we're down here somewhere, negative 14, below 0. Okay, so we go down. So we're starting at negative 14. And when we're writing our expression, that is going to be the first number. Okay, so in this problem, we're starting at negative 14 degrees. The temperature dropped 7 degrees. So what we're going to do is we're going to represent dropping 7 degrees as a negative 7. Okay, because it's dropping 7 degrees. So when we write the final temperature now, we are, all right, let me do something here. Let me just erase something. Right, let's go back for a second. So we had negative 14 is where we started, and we're dropping 7 degrees, so we're adding a negative 7. Okay, now if you think about our number line over here, which I don't think I can fix because I already got out of my edit tool, but I can, let me just draw maybe a new number line because this temperature went down, so I actually need more space. So I'm going to put my 0 degrees more towards the top of my number line. Negative 14 is here, let's say. And it went down 7 degrees. So I'm going down from here another 7 degrees. Okay, so I'm adding a negative 7. So this is what my number sentence could look like. So I'm starting at negative 14 and I'm adding a negative 7. That negative 7 is representing that drop. Or you may have said, well, why did you do that, Miss Pereira? Don't worry about my kid in the background. He's sick. If you hear him coughing, that's what it is. A lot of you probably wouldn't have added that negative 7. A lot of you probably would have done this. So I'm going to just write this above the expression I just wrote. You probably would have thought, hey, I started at negative 14 and I'm dropping 7 degrees. So I'm just going to subtract 7. Let me tell you something. Those two things are the same. Okay, those two things are the same. Think about the number line if we're walking the number line. So I'm going to bring you back to what we were doing before. Okay, so let me just add another slide and start explaining. So if you remember, we had negative 14 minus 7, and I said that that's the same as negative 14 plus negative 7. Okay, so take a look at this number line that I just put here. If I'm starting at negative 14, that's right here, negative 14. If I'm subtracting 7, so subtracting means I'm going to face to the left. And since this 7 is positive, I'm going to move forward 7 spots. So since I'm facing left, forward is to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I end up at negative 21. So when I solve this, evaluate this expression here, I get negative 21 degrees. That would be the temperature right now. But let's take a look at why I wrote it as addition. So I want you to just remember the same rules for walking the number line. I'm still going to start at negative 14. So I'm starting there. It's addition, so I'm going to face to the right. But because this is a negative 7, I'm not walking forward 7, I'm walking backward 7. So I'm going to walk backward 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Notice I end up with the same result of negative 21 degrees. So when we write our number sentences, be very careful when you're subtracting or adding that you're adding or subtracting the right value. So that's what we're going to practice today. Okay, let's take a look at another example. So we're going to call this example 2. Okay, so in your notebook, make sure you do example 2. Let's read the problem together. It says Mount Everest, the highest elevation in Asia, is 29,028 feet above sea level. So that means that elevation is positive, okay? The Dead Sea, which is the lowest elevation on Earth, is 1,312 feet below sea level. What is the difference between these two elevations? So difference means the range, okay? How far apart are these on a number line? That's what they're asking for. And difference is a key word for subtraction, okay? We're looking for the answer to a subtraction problem. So when we write this, think about these two numbers on a number line, okay? So we're going to have 0 somewhere. We're going to have 29,028 feet above sea level, so that's above. Let's just put that up here. Mommy. Hold on, Ethan. Mom's making a video. And then we have the Dead Sea, which is 1,312 feet below 0, below sea level, so that would be a negative value. Sorry about that. So when we're looking for the difference, we want to know how far apart this is from this. That's what difference means, okay? And we want to write it as a subtraction problem. So where are we starting? We're always going to start with a larger value. So when we write our expression, it's going to be 29,028 feet. And we're subtracting the smaller value. Let me just get a different color here. We're going to subtract negative 1,312. So there is our expression. Now, how do we solve that? Don't forget our rule for subtraction. We can change it to addition. So cha-cha-cha, we're going to keep 29,028 the same. Change subtraction to addition. And we're going to change the next number to its opposite. Right now it's negative, so we're going to make it positive. So basically I'm adding 29,028 feet plus 1,312 feet, which comes to 30,340 feet. Now think about how much that makes sense that we actually ended up adding those. Because from, let me just get a different color here. Hold on. Okay, so from 29,200 feet, 29,028 feet, I'm sorry, to 0, how many spaces is that? That's 29,028 spaces. Plus, we have to walk from 0 to negative 1,312. So I'm just adding another 1,312 spaces if we were walking. Okay, so you end up just adding those, and that makes sense. So the distance between Mount Everest to the Dead Sea is 30,340 feet. Okay, label this problem number 3. A submarine was situated 800 feet below sea level. If it ascends 250 feet, what is the new position? So keywords here are 800 feet below sea level. So think about what that represents. And ascends means to go up. Descends means to go down. So ascends means to go up. So what I'm going to ask you to do in your notebook is write an expression for number 3, evaluate it, so solve it, and then later on in the presentation I'm going to ask you to check your answer. Okay, let's go to the next problem. Okay, so we're going to skip a couple of the problems that I'm going to send you to later on to another website. So label this number 7. Okay, let's look at number 7. A submarine was situated 450 feet below sea level. If it descends 300 feet, what is its new position? So write me an expression, solve. I'm going to ask you to check it later. Okay, number 8. In the Sahara Desert one day, it was 136 degrees Fahrenheit. In the Gobi Desert, a temperature of negative 50 degrees Fahrenheit was recorded. What is the difference between these two temperatures? So I underlined some of the key words for you. Write me an expression, evaluate it. We're going to check it later. Okay, we're going to skip number 9. Number 10. Metal mercury at room temperature is a liquid. Its melting point is negative 39 degrees Celsius. The freezing point of alcohol is negative 114 degrees Celsius. How much warmer is the melting point of mercury than the freezing point of alcohol? So we have mercury at negative 39 degrees Celsius. And the freezing point of alcohol is negative 114 degrees Celsius. So you should realize that negative 39 degrees is greater than negative 114 degrees. Think about the temperature. Which one is warmer? Negative 39 degrees is warmer than 114. So they want to know how much warmer is mercury than alcohol. So what I want you to do is make sure you write this inequality that I just wrote right here, that negative 39 degrees is greater than negative 114. I want you to write an expression, solve. We're going to check it later.